like to welcome everyone to the Mastermind call today. My name is Janet Marquez. I'm one of the Edge Diamonds in the Edge organization. I'm so excited about the call today. I've really been pondering about what everyone is needing right now, including myself. And I feel like one of the biggest things that's happening right now is people are going back to school. People are getting back in a routine, which makes them more apt to want to have structure. When they start thinking about what they really want, they start, getting around more people, so they're getting sick more often and things like that. And so you may be noticing just here in the last couple of days even that you're feeling this momentum. Maybe some of you have even gotten sick in this time. I know lots of people, I've been dealing with some allergies, different things like that, and so it's a shifting time right now. And so with that, I hope that you all know that you can be prepared for some momentum that's coming your way. You're going to be starting to get phone calls, especially if you put yourself out there as somebody that is really serious about doTERRA. You make posts on Facebook, or you are giving samples all the time and all of that. The people that you've been trying to get a hold of all summer, they're going to start calling you. They're going to start, you're going to get lots of momentum happening your way, especially if you have continued to actively build your doTERRA business. And so today I really want to help get a really clear picture for everyone on the call of what some of the things that you could be doing to really grab up this energy and this momentum that's happening. Make sure that you're in the flow of it, but also to know how to manage the energy and the momentum as it comes, because that's a big part of it too. We think that the biggest part is just getting the momentum, but no, we need to be able to manage it as it comes. So I'm super excited about this time, about the energy that's going around, about everything like that. And so first of all, the first question I'd like to just pose to this mastermind is, what are some of the things that you are doing right now to make sure that you are in the flow of the momentum that's happening? I'm going to go ahead and open that up. If you have a comment, go ahead and click star 5 star, or if you are unmuted, go ahead and speak up. I'll go ahead and go to Seth Risenmay. You're up.
Hey, how you doing? I actually think I had my hand raised from when I was a little while ago, but I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm very excited for the we're going to do another Edge Olympics starting in September 1st. And I would really recommend people doing that, because the people who took advantage of the Edge Olympics during the summer, the teams that really engaged in that had really good results, and I think created quite a bit of momentum. I know that Lindsay Manukau, her team actually did pretty well in that one, as well as Gail Kirtland and others. And so if they're on the call, if you participate in that, you might want to share your experience. But that is I would recommend doing that. I was just talking to Courtney Moses earlier today, and I was like, hey, what are you doing to take advantage of that? And she identified people on her team that had goals of reaching, had different goals that they were trying to reach by the end of this year. And I think that is just a really cool way to pull together some people, put them on a team, and get that kind of camaraderie going, and plus earn some money in the meantime.
Awesome. Seth, really fast, for anybody that may have not been on the first call where you introduced the Olympics or didn't participate in it, can you explain that so people have a good idea, either a reminder or are hearing it and understanding it better?
Yeah, so if you go to the Daily Edge Facebook group, you'll see there are some videos that we posted there, and you can also go to edgesuccess.com and click on the Summer Olympics banner on that as well for details. But basically what it is that if you get the My Daily Edge app, it just is a customer relationship management tool that manages your contacts, and it puts them into different categories. So everybody that you need to call and invite to a class, they're all in one place, and then everybody you need to follow up with after the class, they're all in one spot, and everyone who needs to be, have a member overview, they're there, and then the people that need a business overview and the people that need mentoring. Well, it basically just makes sure that you're following up with everybody in the process. Well, every time you engage in that process of finding and teaching and inviting and things like that, you receive credit towards a medal, like a gold, a silver, or a bronze medal. And there's certain levels of activities that you do over a week period of time or over a month. And this is a monthly competition. So basically what it is you put together a team of 5 people, and everybody on your team who gets a bronze, silver, or gold medal in the key categories, in the categories of activities that actually build your business. If you're engaged in those activities, then you get a bronze, silver, or gold medal. And each medal has a certain number of points that they get credit for. And they also get credit for rank advancement. And so anybody on that team that if you get a gold medal in any one of those categories, then your gold medal is counted towards the team totals. And then the top team every member of that team gets $500. $300 goes to the second place team, and the third place team everybody gets $200. So we're going to give out $5,000 in cash and prizes for people who actually for the teams that do well on this. But the thing is that it's one of those things that we always kind of chuckle about, that where basically people run really hard for $500 and they don't realize that they're actually retiring themselves in the process. And so sometimes it's hard for people to have, to stay motivated when they're looking at something that they don't quite grasp, which is this idea of retirement that can happen really quickly. And so we just give them a $500 or $300 or $200 reward for being a part of the team. So my advice is, we have a week until the month of September starts. I would put together a team, send in your team application to I think it's events@edgesuccess.com. We'll put your team on there, and then that's that. And then as your team medals in those categories, you guys get credit, and you can earn cash, and in the meantime, build a great doTERRA business.
So awesome. Thank you so much for putting that together and doing that for us, Beth. I think that end, Rod, I love it. So cool. Lindsay Manitoul, you are up.
Hello. Yes, I just, sorry, my kids are being loud right now, of course, but I'm going to hide. That momentum, when it comes, it can be really, really intimidating and really, really scary. I've felt that several times, and I use the Edge app to keep myself in line and remembering to do what I need to do, but I can't just rely on that. I have to be honest with you. I had to put myself on a schedule. I have to do, I have a 1-hour morning routine that includes 20 minutes of me double checking myself to make sure that everybody on my Facebook Messenger I've talked to, all of the text messages I've gotten that I've talked to, make sure that I have caught myself up so that I am doing all of that. So I have to schedule it for 20 minutes in the morning, and then before I close my eyes at night and before I go to bed, I do another 20 minutes to make sure that I am double checking everything. I know that it would be better if I was inputting everything at the moment, but my brain doesn't work like that. My schedule doesn't work like that. I've got madness and mayhem. So me double checking myself for those 40 minutes every day and making sure that it's a priority has really, really helped me keep my organization skills and really grow into that time management, because that's something that I was really struggling with. And it came to a head for me in April in the middle of all of Diamond Club craziness and all of these schedules. I actually was supposed to be somewhere, and I didn't realize it and didn't buy the ticket until 2 days beforehand, and that was because I was lacking my time management skills, and I was lacking that organizational skills. So doing the 20 minutes in the morning and the 20 minutes in the evening before this is just in addition to you already typing things out or you writing things into your calendar, making sure it's like a double, triple check to make sure that I'm not missing anything, because missing people are that's missing people that are going to come into your organization that could be large, that could be something that's really important for you. So that extra 40 minutes that I put in every single day really helps to keep me in line.
Oh my goodness, that is gold, Lindsay. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Myself.
And I had to schedule it in. I had to schedule it in my self-care, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't do it. And then somebody was always yelling at me that I wasn't taking care of myself, Desiree. So I once I was scheduling my own self-care, I had to schedule my double checks at the same time. So within my self-care, I'm taking care of myself and my time management, my organizational mess. So it works for me. Hope it works for somebody else too.
Brilliant. Oh, brilliant. I am so excited to meet you at convention. I am like, I have chills all over. This is so good. So good. Okay, Lindsay, that was so awesome. I have another question for you, though. Do you also schedule in at some point in the day your doTERRA actual time, or are you just kind of on the go doing your doTERRA time and contacting people throughout your day? How do you manage that? I'm just curious.
Oh, one day it will look like that, but not right now. It was funny that one of our awesome leaders on Edge, she was like, one day you're just going to videotape what your day looks like and how you do it. And I'm like, no, nobody wants to see all that, because I fit it in the middle of everything else. I wish I was that really super organized office and doTERRA time and whatnot. I just am not. I wish I was, and I bet if I was, I would be a blue diamond at this point. But I do it in the midst of the muck. You'll see, if you see a Facebook Live video from me, most of the time you're going to see it in my car, because that's when my kids are quiet, because I can plug in Pokemon and they can watch that for 20 minutes. I can go and do nap time, and then I am able to get a lot done. I get a lot done in that hour and a half for nap time, because that's when I do it. Or, I make my phone calls while I'm running around doing my soccer mom taxi stuff. It's becoming really good at multitasking, and I know that that's not good. I know somebody's going to yell and say, no, don't multitask. Make sure that you have at certain times. But honestly, for me, that's not reality, and I'm not able to do that. So I fit it in the muck. And I teach my classes sometimes with kids running around and being crazy. I teach a lot of classes at play places, because that's what my life looks like right now. So one day I will be scheduled like that. Hopefully.
Lindsay, I just want to tell you that there are different personalities. Like, there are different personalities, and I have my days where I can sit down and I can plan out my 2-hour time and be really scheduled. But I also am a personality that is a lot like yours, where sometimes I do my best work because I'm moving, because I'm out, because I'm doing stuff. If I'm ever stuck, I get out and I start doing. So you are just right. I so appreciate your comment. How fantastic. Awesome.
Thank you.
Courtney Moses, you are up next. How do you manage this energy, this momentum, or create, get in the flow of momentum?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry, I didn't know if my line was unmuted. So, I get thinking about momentum and excitement, because I think sometimes we mistake excitement for momentum, okay? So there's a lot of things happening in doTERRA, and a lot of things happening in my organization that excite me, right? But the momentum comes when you start doing something, right? And so momentum doesn't begin with the masses. It begins always with one. And then that one person attracts others, to their cause and to themselves and, their team and all of that. And so, when I look at just creating that momentum and that movement, it really begins with me. And I have to look at what am I doing? How am I responding to the excitement of everything going around, right? Because you can go to a class and you can be excited and have an awesome class, and then someone there decides they want to build and you get excited, but then what do you do after that? You know what I mean? Are you following up with them and giving them the time and support and guidance that they need to keep that momentum and actually get that momentum? Or are you, moving on to the next person? Does that make sense? So when it comes to, momentum and all that, I think you have to remember it's kind of like, the turtle wins the race, right? It's like you have that excitement and you want to keep that energy there of excitement, but you don't go so fast that you are dropping people along the way, right? And that you're not dropping yourself along the way and burning yourself out because you can't keep up with it all, right? Like that's not really creating momentum, because that momentum will come as you're inspiring others because they want to be a part of your cause and what you're about. Like that's what really creates that movement and momentum. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that's so brilliant. Basically what I took from that was that, if you just are feeding off of excitement, well, excitement, you enroll somebody, but then you don't do a membership overview of business, or you wait for a long time because you have such a high and you have to come down from that high. And
or you're waiting for, your builder to go and commit someone or for them to do something. But really to create and sustain momentum, you have got to be on par every single day with your own personal actions. And that will attract that. See, the organization can only go as fast as the leader's speed, right? So it's never going to go faster than what you can handle. It never will. It can't. It's impossible. Right? So, but you have to make sure that your speed is creating the momentum. And so I just cannot stress, how important I've learned this lesson over and over in my own journey with doTERRA. When I look at the times when business is going great, it's every day I'm on par with what I need to be doing. I'm living that 631, right? And I'm reaching out to people. And the times that it's not, it's when I'm not. I'm not contacting my builders at the level I should be. I'm not personally recruiting at the level I should be. I'm simply not living the 631. But if you live that, I guarantee you that you're not going to go any faster than what you can handle, because through that process and truly living that, you are developing leaders underneath you.
So brilliant. So Courtney, we heard Lindsay, how she does the 20 minutes in the morning and then the 20 minutes in the evening. How do you organize yourself to be able to make sure that you are doing your 6 through? I mean, you're doing these things. What does your schedule look like and time management look like?
Every day, every week, there's variations of it, right? I think, for me, it's every week I'm going to make sure I've got quality time with my children. Every week I'm going to make sure that I've got time scheduled for my leaders. And that's not always a set time that, okay, Mondays at 6 p.m. is family time, right? It's not, right? Because things change. If I have a class that night, I'm going to go do the class, but I'm going to make sure somewhere in there that there is that family time. And so for me, it's just a matter of I look at, Sunday evenings or Monday mornings is usually when it happens for me, that I just sit down and I look at the week and the commitments, and I never commit to something without looking at, the needs of my builders first. You know what I mean? So if someone's like, hey, can you watch my kids or help me out on this day? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to look at my calendar. I'm going to reach out and make sure that that's not interfering with my team, right? And so, again, it's just going to come down to prioritizing your life, right? So I prioritize with family and God and doTERRA, right? And then if there's time left over, I can reach out into other aspects of my life. But I think that's where, people struggle, is that they are scheduling doTERRA after they make all these other commitments. So I don't think that there's an exact answer of how you prioritize and how you schedule your day. Some people might do 20 minutes every morning, or, for me, I look at stuff on a weekly basis, Sunday nights or Monday mornings, and look at that, and I just fill it in where it's going to fit best. So it's not like I have this sacred time that is only devoted to this and this to that, and it's set every week. It changes every week. So I'm flexible in the timing. I'm not flexible in the activities.
Wonderful. I feel that what you just said was liberating for so many people, because I think that when we do get our minds too wrapped around, okay, it's my 2-hour block right now, okay, or things like that. But I love how you described that you set your priorities Those are the first things, and making sure that all those priorities are set, and then you know how much extra time you have. And if you have no extra time, then that's what it is. Thank you so much, Courtney. Okay, Holly Orkill, you are up.
Hey, Janet. So I have found that momentum happens when you work with the people that are most excited. And so I feel like there have been times where I've tried to, like, pull people along, and it is really frustrating on both, like, parts. So I've decided to do the summer or the September Olympics, and just sent out a text to about 10 people on my team that I wanted to work with, but I wanted to see how they would respond. So I sent out a text just saying, look, I'm super excited about doing this. This is what it would entail. And I just got a little bit more clear about, okay, it's going to mean you put in a minimum of an hour to your business a day, and something that I wanted to require was 30 minutes of personal development, because I feel like where people are out on my team, we're all looking for, like, the people that we really want to work with, but I feel like we needed a shift in ourselves, and that, I believe, comes from personal development. And then that, they would be keeping up with answering those other 5 questions a day and recording their activities on the app. I said that I'd create a Facebook group where we could bring a lot of excitement and inspiration and support for one another, and that they would start looking at their schedule now to figure out how they can make this work, kind of like what has already been said. And it was really awesome to do that, because instead of saying, like, you got to be on this team, I really want you here, like, I need you to be excited, and I want to work with those that really want it. And so it hasn't gone. I mean, I've got the 4 spots, and I told them that I would, that they would be in my prayers, and I would plead for inspiration for them and for their business and things like that, that I wanted them to know that I would be as dedicated to it as they would be, and that I would put the effort in that they were putting in. And so I am excited about that, and I'm hoping that, I guess the principle is, work with those that move towards you and mentor the committed. And so I feel like that is a really awesome principle to apply in your business in regards to momentum, because you kind of kill momentum, or there is no momentum when you're working with those that don't either want it or not ready to make it a priority.
Mm-hmm. That is so, so, so important, and so grateful for that comment. Just how many times do we, just beat our heads against the wall, hoping that other people will do what we want them to do. But the other thing that stood out to me about what you said, Holly, is that you made it realistic. Like, you weren't just saying, hey, it's going to be so awesome, come join me, come do this.
Right.
Let's just make it so, like, you're finding now, okay, so this is what it's going to actually take. This is the reward, but, where are you in your life? It's kind of like what we do with the Quick Start Guide of really getting down to, okay, where really are you at? I love it. So good. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Holly?
One other thing that I think that is also helpful is just helping and what I think the Megan Dogs are so, so good at is helping your team members work through their blocks with the oils. Because I feel like people get stuck and they're like, oh, this isn't going to work because blah, blah, blah. And they just need, like, an excavator with the oils, and obviously what you teach so well too with the same course. But anyways, that has been super helpful in creating more momentum and helping people to believe that it is possible. Like, the dreams that they originally had with doTERRA will and can work, but they just have to work through some of the stuff that they've got going, that we all have going, actually.
Yes, I 100%
so that's
agree.
very helpful.
It's easy to share something that you see it changing your life and flowing in your life. Like, it's very simple to share, and not get overwhelmed in that way when you realize the importance of what you're sharing. Thank you so much, Holly. Okay, Alonso, you are up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my thing with the whole like momentum and harnessing is understanding that there's natural momentum already in existence, right? There's like an ebb and flow of life when it comes to opportunities and challenges when it comes to what's existing. And once you have that understanding, it's being aware of those natural momentums that are happening and just ride those momentum kind of like a wave, right? So when you're surfing, and I'm not like the greatest surfer by any means, but I've been out in the water where there were like little waves, and a big wave would come in, and the amount of effort that I would have to kind of put in to catch a wave like that was bigger was significantly less compared to like all the little waves or even things that I was trying to create on my own. And understanding like kind of like the season that we're about to go into when it comes to doTERRA, right? With convention coming up and like the holiday season and all that stuff, that's a huge upswing when it comes to momentum that's naturally going to happen without any effort from like a single individual. And once you understand it, now you just ride that momentum. You ride that wave by going in line with what is naturally going on. And what happens is that if you try to go against it, like you're going to run yourself ragged and exhaust yourself instead of like relaxing and realizing, okay, this is the time for this and this is the time for that. Does that make sense?
Oh, so good. Oh, I love that analogy of the wave. Can you give some pointers on what do you personally do, Alonso, to make sure that you're not jumping on every single little wave that comes, exhausting yourself, but riding and finding the big waves and what are the actual physical things, personal things you do?
So at the core of it is the philosophy that I have when it comes to opportunities that are going to come and difficulties that are going to come in life. So once I have that understanding that it's all just life is just about seasons, right? Now I know in the times where I'm supposed to sow and when the times I'm supposed to reap the harvest, I know where to put my efforts in. So like if it's a time for sowing, right? If it's a time for planting seeds, then there's a lot of activity that I'm doing when it comes to sharing the oil, teaching the classes, doing those types of things. But when it comes to like reaping the harvest, then I enjoy that time too. Like I put myself in situations where I feel gratitude and gratefulness for all the things that I've been blessed with from the sowing that I've had to put in, and be able to enjoy and be grateful for the harvest. And so many people are just stuck in this like, oh my God, I gotta sow, and that becomes like the lifestyle that we put out there to people that we're trying to bring on as business partners or as customers. And when they see someone that's like run ragged and like so busy and so stressed out, that's not very attractive. That's not very like, oh, I want to be able to do what she's doing. I want to be able to do what he's doing, because no one is ever gonna be attracted to that type of thing. But if they see you enjoying life and enjoying your time with your kids and have like money to be able to go on vacations and do all these things that are improving like your quality of life, then that's hugely attractive to others that don't have that or are wanting that.
Right. Totally. I agree with that. So my question is then, are you just as grateful for the hard, slow times than as you are for the times of receiving and flow? Like, how do you do that?
So that's a great question, Janet, because really it is about gratitude and gratefulness for all the things that come into your life. And when it comes to difficulties or opportunities, like I welcome those in equal gratitude or gratefulness, because I look at life just as like a roller coaster, right? A roller coaster where when you're at the bottom, like when difficulties are abound and all those things are happening to you, problems and all that stuff, I look at it as a developmental stage, a growth stage. And now when I'm able to grow and then I'm able to kind of develop my skills and learn ways to kind of find solutions for problems, now I end up being able to have a capacity to be able to contribute. So in my gratitude and gratefulness for those opportunities to be able to reap the harvest, I'm also grateful and thankful for those kind of problems that come into my life, because it helped me to develop as a person. It helped me to develop and create more value that I'm able to kind of give to others. So developing my capacity to be able to influence and inspire others, because now I can speak from a space where, hey, I know where you're going, or I know where you're coming from because I've been there. But it's hard to relate to someone that you're going to be like, I'm having all these issues, and someone's like, oh, I can't help you there because I've never been there. But if you as a leader can be like, hey, I know where you're going, or I know where you're coming from because I've been there. This is like my situation. This is how I looked at it, and this is how I overcame it.
Oh my goodness, this is so fascinating. So what do you feel like it does to your momentum when you hit the hard times and you're not grateful for those?
I mean, like anything, right? If you try to go against or fight like the thing that's coming, it just grows, right? It just like what happens with like fear, or what happens with kind of this feeling of like inadequacy, right? If you fight against it, if you try to ignore it, then it just gets to a point where it gets so big that you're paralyzed, that movement just stops, like you're stuck. And that's what people feel like when it comes to problems in their lives and they don't have the skill to be able to deal with it. They don't have the strength to be able to overcome whatever those issues are that are coming in their life, and they get paralyzed. They get stuck, and the momentum totally disappears. Like movement totally disappears, let alone momentum.
Wow. This is amazing. So my next question, I hope all of you on the call, please feel free to pipe in on this. This is actually going a direction I wasn't expecting, but I'm really excited about it because I feel like how Alonzo was talking about this wave, like I feel like we sometimes miss these big waves because we forget to be grateful for all things. so we've been talking about the hard times. My next question is, what about those times? It's so interesting to me where you go and you have this amazing class. Somebody buys a diamond set, or you have all of these people enroll, and it is so interesting to me. Even in myself, you have these big momentum moments where you feel like, holy cow, it's all coming, and you feel like you need to and then things blow up, like hard times come, or like you feel overwhelmed, or all these things. How do you keep momentum going? And I love this idea about gratitude. What do you think gratitude has to do on both ends? Like, okay, yeah, we can be grateful for the hard times. What about, the overwhelming times where we have so much momentum that we feel? How do you use gratitude for that?
So it's all about being in the moment, right? And again, comparing it to surfing, like once I've caught a wave, once I've kind of got on that wave, I'm not like, oh my God, how great is my next wave going to be? Or it's like, oh my God, that person got a better wave than me. It's like, oh my God, I'm on this wave. It's so amazing, and I'm riding it, and I'm in the moment. I'm in the flow of what's going on, and really that's where true gratitude comes in, and you're just thankful for this day, right? Like you're just thankful for this moment that you've been given to be able to enjoy. And what happens, I see so many people in that situation where they've had this amazing class, right? They've had all these enrollments, and they've had massive amounts of kind of forward action being taken in their business. And they go and sabotage it. They go in oh my God, it wasn't as good as this other person.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as my upline. She does it way better than me. And never really allow that to fuel them, because they're always worried about what's next, or they're always comparing themselves with what has been, and are not in the moment of this is what's happening now.
That is so interesting. Wow. Thank you, Alonso. David, you are up. I am so excited to hear what you have to say.
So what I was going to say is in reference to keeping momentum and recognizing and keeping that going. I love that Lana's comment about you're being grateful in the moment that you're in, because I do believe that too often we all look way too much forward and way too much back. And meaning, you're either really excited about what's coming, or you're not excited about what's coming and it affects your current activity, or you're looking back in a comparison standpoint, and that never serves, because everybody's different. Everybody has different talents. Everybody has different abilities. Everybody has different business, and everybody has different leaders. And so you have to recognize where you're at right now, be grateful for it, and then be active in the moment. And that's really what the focus of my comment is that it's the moment right now. And if you're going to adjust momentum, if you're going to affect momentum, it has to be focused in the present. What is happening right now, and what can I do? And the one thing that we all have the ability to affect is our current activity, of what we're doing right now. And we always talk about the law of the harvest, right? We always talk about the law of the harvest, and oftentimes we focus on the law of the harvest is focused on the harvest, right? It's not. The law of the harvest, and the principle that makes the law of the harvest truly an active living principle and law, is the fact that you're constantly sowing. You never harvest if you don't plant. Right? And we too often we get in this idea that, why am I not harvesting? What is wrong with my harvest? Who went out and pulled all my plants? Right? My leaders just quit. My leader or my leader's not doing what I want him to do or whatever. What's wrong with my harvest? Well, we forget, right? The law of the harvest comes in the fact that you went out and planted a whole field. And unless we're out there planting every year, there's no law of the harvest is not perennials, by the way. The law of the harvest means that you have to go out and you have to continually plant all the time. And in your planting all the time, and you're planting seeds, and you're helping, and you're serving, and you're working with people, and you're constantly out there planting new seeds. Then all of a sudden, now the law of the harvest principle comes into effect, which is momentum, right? Momentum comes when you have a whole field of seeds planted. Momentum doesn't come when you, like I was giving my brother-in-law a hard time. We went up to Utah and Idaho this last month, and we were about there in his backyard, and he had a little grow box of corn, and he had 5 stalks of corn. I said, that's not even dinner for you guys one time because they have 5 kids. I was like, so who's out, right? You gonna split them in 2? And that's, I think we get in that concept. We're in that mode with our business. Well, I planted my row of corn. I've got 5 rows. I've got 5 stalks. What's the problem? Right? Oh, the problem is you need a field of corn. The problem is you need to increase your activity, and as you increase your activity, all of a sudden things line up, and people are like, I love Lindsay's comment, right? Lindsay's talking about these things that are happening and the calls she's making and all this stuff she's doing. Well, it's because she's doing. It's because she's doing. She's out there and she's making calls and she's lining up her day and she's getting active. And when we get active, things just happen. And guess what? It gets fun and it gets exciting because things are happening because we're doing. And when we sit around, when we mope about the harvest not being great, and we complain about the harvest not being everything that we wanted it to be, when we forgot to plant in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want to blame it on somebody. We want to blame it on compliance. We want to blame it on doTERRA. We want to blame it on saturation. We want to blame it on all these different things that are easy to blame. Upline's the greatest, right? Everybody can blame an upline. Even us, that darn Courtney Moses, man, she doesn't do anything, right? Well, we all know that's not true, but I can do that. I can blame it on her, and I can feel better about myself in the moment, but it's not true, right? We have phenomenal upline. Everybody does. You just have to look up, and you have to go after them, and you have to become the solution. And so when we talk about momentum, you create momentum very easily. Just get active. Get out and share the oils. Share what the oils do. I love the training that we're getting. Desiree's donating her time to help with just a diamond specific call for all of us that were up there at the diamond retreat, which by the way is momentum or is incentive for all of you to achieve diamond because you did go to the diamond retreat. And we got trained on oils by Desiree, and it opened up my mind to all of the different things that the oils can do. We get too focused sometimes on the oils. When I get a cough or I get a sore throat, I take On Guard. Well, that's just a fraction of what they do. And so when we get out and we start to use and we start to apply and you start to truly share, it's just amazing the miracles, right? We call them miracles that happen in our lives when we're just active. And we just get out and do the things that we do on a daily basis to share the oils and to introduce the oils to people. And when someone says no, you don't take it personal when you're just truly trying to share the oils. When we take it personal is when we only have 4 people to talk to, and those are the 4 that signed up with us a year and a half ago, and so dang it, they got to be the ones that are taking us to the top because they've been with us for a year and a half. Well, oftentimes we mistake people's love of the oils for a desire to build a business. Those are 2 separate things. And if we can go through it and increase our sowing, increase our activity, increase the first part of the law of the harvest, which is plant. If we can increase that, then all of a sudden it's not a miracle when we have an abundant harvest. And that's momentum. Momentum is the process by which things grow and they develop and they get watered and they get fed, and all of a sudden they turn into these fantastic plants that then go out and those plants reseed, right? Those plants drop more seeds, and that's really what we're after. But I sum everything up, all that rambling, everything up into one thing. Increase your activity and watch the miracles happen. Because as we are active and we sow and we sow and we sow, and we do it with a true intent to really help people and bless people and introduce the oils to people and what they can do, magical things happen, and momentum starts, and momentum starts to happen within our business. And I love what Holly said is work with those that want to be worked with. And you'll start to find that it's easier to fill holes in places in your business when you're working with people that want to be worked with. Because when you're excited and you're moving forward and you're building your business, you're going to attract the people that necessary to build wherever they need to be in your business. And that's just a very it's a very powerful principle, because positivity attracts positivity. And if you start dealing with and wallowing in the negative in your business, because there is negative in everybody's business, by the way. Everybody has legs that are not doing what they should be doing. Newsflash. Everybody does. And so you create momentum by working with those that are coming towards you. And then as you do that and you create additional momentum there, and you're finding and you're planting your own seeds and you're placing them in positions in your business where you need growth, you are now in control of your business, and you're not turning it over to someone else and then being frustrated with them for not building your business. Because we do that too often in our businesses, is we turn too much control over to someone, and then we get frustrated with them for not doing what we wanted them to do. So increase your activity, and increase your momentum.
Hey, Janet.
Brother,
add on top of it.
Go for it.
Hey, I want to add on top of what Dave and Alonso are saying. By the way, David, I have no idea what you're talking about. My team's perfect. So,
wait a minute. I'm a part of your team, and therefore it's not perfect.
So, you're talking about gratitude a little bit with Alonso there and listening to David. And I actually think that gratitude is a really big part of creating momentum. And the reason why is I look at like the struggles in my life, the struggles in doTERRA that I've had. As David said, we all have them. It actually wasn't until I expressed gratitude for them that it started to shift, because everything about my energy shifts when you are coming from this place of gratitude. So whether it's good or bad, if you are grateful for it, it starts to shift things. So when the struggles were there and then I had gratitude for them, it was learning opportunities for me to figure out how I could change and what I needed to do to change. Whereas if I didn't express that gratitude, you're in a place of victim mode and being negative about things, right? And so then it's hard to create that momentum. Now, if the opposite were to happen, if you're in a place of all these great things happening, you're like, oh my word, and you're not expressing gratitude for it, then I feel like it ends too. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's so important for everyone to learn to embrace and be grateful for the good, the bad, the ugly, all that comes through this journey, because when you do, it will either magnify the good as you express gratitude in it, right? Or you'll finally be able to learn and overcome the struggles you've had because you're grateful for them.
Oh my goodness, Courtney. Oh, so cool. Thank you. Oh, we needed to hear that. Thank you so much. This is the coolest call. I love it. Okay, so we have a number, 920-699-2680.
That's me.
You have had, yes, go for it.
Hi, I'm kind of new to the call, but I'm totally impressed today what I hear, because I'm coming into the business from teaching, and I want to dig a little deeper in a couple of things that people were talking about with the gratitude and keeping the momentum. I think it was David that said something about that seeds analogy. That is awesome. And I think that, when you go out to Utah and there's only 5 stalks, you take the seeds and you plant those. There's your field. And I think that the gratitude comes from digging a little deeper is a journal. And I think a lot of people do have the journal. It really helps bring out the good feelings as you keep going each day. And I don't know who was talking right before this, but she was talking about the challenge and the struggle. I want to add a book that I ran across, which is awesome, because this kind of talks about the words we use, and it's Your Every Word Has Power by Yvonne Oswald, and it has changed my life. It's awesome. And so instead of using words like hard, you say it's not easy. And it kind of makes me laugh because I've been doing these word choices for about 3 years, and I kind of like, oh my gosh, I switched my word choices, and I'm just laughing now because it's like what actually a couple of gentlemen and the last person said. I forgot their name, sorry. One was Courtney, David. I'm Kathy, by the way. But anyway, I just am inspired by that discussion on the positive attracts positiveness in each moment, because that's what we're carrying on. It's sharing, but that's what we're carrying on. And how to do it is, one of them is the gratitude journal, and focus on what's right. What happened that was right. And once you get into that flow of that, it's amazing. Your whole body changes. It's
so beautiful.
It does. Your whole body changes, and you look at whatever you thought was struggling, that you struggled for like 5 years ago, you just look at it and go, oh, that was an interesting challenge. You don't even use some of these words. You replace them with not easy or a challenge, and you smile.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate that so much. All right, Seth, you are up.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on a couple of things that have been said. A lot of truth being shared on the call today. The one thing is that, you started this call off by asking the question, how do you take advantage of momentum? And one of the things is that do not delay. There are certain times of year that where like we've talked, like David was talking about, this is one of those times. September is like the fact that school has started and all those things, do not let it be October or November and then you go, well, now I'm going to get going. You really need to harvest when the harvest is here, and this is the time. The second thing is that David mentioned that the key to creating momentum is activity. And I agree with that, but I want to add something to it. Also, consistency. There's no such thing as momentum when there's inconsistency. And this, by the way, this principle, this applies to everything. For example, I know that like if I want to improve my relationship with God, it is not the sprints that create consistency. It's the marathon. It's the things that you do day after day after day after day that accumulate and eventually create momentum. And so sometimes people, what they'll do is they'll go into flurries of activity. They'll do a whole bunch for a little while, and then they'll stop. And the key is to do enough all the time. And you have to stay consistent. And one of my favorite analogies with this is if you've ever read a book called Good to Great, which is one of my favorite business books. In fact, it's probably in the top 3 of business books. It's, in that book, he talks about momentum. And one of the things that he mentions in that book is he goes, imagine an enormous steel wheel, like a big, made of steel. And it's sideways, and it's like this flywheel. And he said, and at first, as you try to, push this wheel to get it to spin, that you are pushing and pushing and pushing, and you can barely get it to move. And then eventually it starts to move a little bit more and a little bit more, and then you start to push and push and push, and the entire time you're pushing, you're straining with this. And then eventually this momentum starts to happen where it starts to move with you, and then you can start to push faster and faster and faster and faster, and then at some point it's whoosh, this wheel just continues to go without you. And it isn't any one push that made the wheel go. It isn't any one effort. It's the combination. It's this compilation of efforts on top of one another that create that kind of momentum. And the thing that's interesting is I've heard a few times people say that, not to be afraid of momentum, and that made me puzzle a little bit because I'm like, well, of course you're not afraid of momentum. And in fact, momentum is what you invite. You do everything you possibly can to get that momentum into your life, and it may feel like it's out of control, but that's when it is out of your control and it grows without you. The momentum that you've built, it just continues to go and to go and to go, which is why hundreds and even thousands of people join a team every month, is because of this momentum that's happened. So don't fear it. I mean, invite it, but you invite it through activity and consistency, and recognizing the times of the season that it's time to work, and now is that time. This is the time, everybody. Do not let this season right here of late August, early to September pass without you, resetting your goals, understanding what you want to get accomplished in the next 90 days, re-inviting the people on your team. Just like Holly said, you're going to the same people and you're asking them, okay, do you want to do this with me? This is where I'm going. Would you like to come along? Work with those that are moving towards you, and then also letting go of the people who aren't going to follow you and going and finding people who will. And, so it's inviting those that you've already invited and inviting new people. But just get this whole thing going, and as you put in this amount of activity, eventually the momentum gets beyond what you can handle, which is a great thing because it means it's growing without you.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for that. We're coming right up to the time to close, and I feel like everything that has been said today is exactly what we all needed to go out and just do what we need to do. Something that's really weighing on my heart, though, is I want to send you all away with some tools that you can use, because the cycle that has been set out that we've all been talking about is this. So we get moving, we get going, which then makes us receive abundance. But then it's our habit. It's almost like a pride that sets in, where we start looking or nitpicking or feeling worried, or these pointless emotions: worry, fear, frustration, comparison. Alonzo talked about that. Be prepared for that. I want to send you out, because I know everyone on this call, if you really do these things, you are in a space where you're going to receive so much momentum and people coming to you. Just know that when that happens, you will be tempted to let these pointless emotions into your heart of comparison, greed, hurt, all these things that will take you out of the realm of gratitude. And I'm telling you that if you let them in, you will be susceptible to a loss of momentum, and everything that you have done before that, you'll have to restart your will. And I'm going to encourage you, please don't do that. The oils are brilliant when it comes to preventing cycles. When you understand the cycle and how it works, you can prevent it. Oils raise your energy. They give you enlightenment. You feel more thoughts and impressions when you are using them intentionally for this. And so I'm going to suggest that all of you on this call today go put cypress down your spine to invite this flow, help you get excited about getting out in the flow, talking to people, doing your 631. Cypress will give you that ability to do that, because it is the oil of flow and momentum. Put it down your spine, and it'll tingle all the way down to your toes, making you feel like you want to just get out and serve and love. And as you feel that, receive the abundance. Put some wild orange on your stomach, on your shoulders, on your throat. Receive that abundance. And wild orange testifies of abundance. It tells you that the world is meant to rise and to feel great and to feel what Steph is talking about, this momentum where it moves with or without you. That's what wild orange testifies of. And then this is the most important part, is to now receive the gratitude of the moment. Don't fall into pointless emotions that just drag you down. Receive the gratitude. Cedarwood is the oil of community, and realizing that you're not doing it alone. There are so many people that want what you want, and they're doing all the things. And so receive the cedarwood on the bottoms of your feet. Geranium to open your heart, to trust that people are doing what they're saying they're going to do, and to trust yourself that you will do what you say you're going to do. And then peppermint to help you realize how exciting it all is and how real it all is. Don't doubt this. There's higher powers at work here. Receive the peppermint, put it right on your neck and on your throat. And then last step is to place some arbor vitae right on your third eye, because that teaches you that there are higher powers at work here, and to receive that. So thank you all so much for being on this call. Please go out and do what you're inspired to do. The world needs your light, and it needs to be lifted to a higher level. You are sharing an important message, and I'm grateful for it. Go out and do it. Love you all.